Is everything okay?
Okay, I believe we're live now. We
Mm-hmm.
just go right into it. Hello, good afternoon, good evening, depending on what part of the world you're joining us from. My name is Brenda Unu. I'm super excited to have you here today. And with me is the amazing, lovely, gorgeous Olamitoyosi Babatunde. I've been practicing that name all day. I know Toyosi,
Exactly.
I know Ola. How do you gather the two together? Every time I try to say it is like a mouthful. I'm like, no, I get it?
Yes, you did.
Yay! Amazing. Welcome, welcome. Thank you
Thank
so much for joining
you.
us today. Thank you for being on our program and just blessing us with your beauty. I just took over our screen. I'm like, come on now. Well, love it, love it, love it. Thank you so much for coming. And you
Thank you
know
for
how we
having
do
me.
it. Yeah, this is another episode of Women's Matters brought to you by the Women's Growth Academy. We are here live every Tuesday, 7 p.m. By the grace of God, we talk about issues that affect women and we just help you to position and just be better because, God just wants you to be better. He loves you. And so he sent us here to come and speak to you today. So get ready, get your pens and your notepads, get your water, get seated. It's going to be a 1 hour ride. So, Olamitoyosi, is it okay to call you Toyosi or must I call it
Yes.
in full?
No,
Toyosi
you
is
can
fine.
say
Okay.
Toyosi. I
All
even
right,
had
great.
some friends who call me Ola, and then there's
Okay.
TY. Whatever
Now,
works for you.
so TY is an option, and I've been biting my tongue since, hey, God. Okay, I'll call you Toyosi. So Toyosi, today, thank you for joining us again. And please introduce yourself to us. You know how we do it on this program. We blow your horn. We don't want any, wife, mother, give us the full profile breakdown as in yours, full. This is the only time you have to be, vain, and we will take it like that. So please give it to us. Who are you? Let's meet you.
Hello, everyone. I am Olamitoyosi Babatunde. I'm a woman of many parts. I'm an author. I have written a book for women, writing about finance from a lay point of view. I have a children's story about uniqueness and finding yourself. I am also a school head. I head Pampas Private School Alaka, one of the oldest private schools in Nigeria, and one of the
Mm.
best, actually. We say we are truly the best.
Woohoo.
All
I
right.
love it.
I'm a consultant. I'm an educational consultant as well. I'm a global educator, a global voice in the education space. Like I said, I'm a woman of many parts. I am also a minister of the gospel, an ordained minister of the gospel. Actually, I am a teens pastor.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Amazing. You see, that's why I said I should not leave out any parts. She said, I didn't even know this
Yes.
part before.
I am
I'll,
also
Mhm.
I'm also the Dean of the Right Teacher Academy. That's a teacher training arm of the Light Foundation Africa. I
Okay.
have worked with that foundation for several years now, turning out 8 sets of educators. I'm also
Wow.
a member of the Association of International School Educators of Nigeria, ASEN. So I'm a
Mm.
board member and a member of the executive,
Mm.
amongst other things. I
Hey,
am an
hey.
entrepreneur.
See my shoulder now, right now. See my shoulder right now. Nothing to my shoulder. I'm
I'm a
just very proud of
beautypreneur.
my.
I'm a vlogger. I'm a content
Mhm.
creator.
Wow, 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 wow.
And of
Amazing. I
course, I'm
mean,
a wife. I'm a mom. I'm a
hey, you can now
sister.
put those ones now.
Yes.
Amazing. Nice to meet you formally, Toyosi. I mean, since I was just looking at you like, okay, my friend is a big girl, oh, she's no educator, pampas head of school. I see all the other plenty things you're doing. Wow, I'm amazed and truly, truly excited to have you here today. So you are
Thank
just the
you.
person to talk to us on the topic for today.
Mm.
Please tell us, why did you choose to speak on this topic? How did it resonate with you when you first heard it, and why did you choose to come and speak to us about it?
Okay, so it's about taking the mic, right, and sharing your story.
Mhm.
Years ago, I was in this space, where I felt, oh, everybody knows what I know. There's nothing special about what I know. There's nothing special about what I do. And I just
Mm.
worked with that mindset. I took everything casually. I didn't place a premium on myself, on my offerings, and
Mm.
I didn't realize I was actually making impact in my own little corner. But then as time went on, something will happen. I would speak to someone, give advice, and they'll say, "Oh, they didn't know that." And I'm wondering, what do you mean you don't know it? It's something I've always known. It's something I've always done. Like it's second nature. I remember during COVID, I took
Mm,
an online English test. I can't forget. Before I started the test, there was a notification saying it was a 40 to 50 minute test. I couldn't
mm,
close my screen once I started, and blah, 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 blah. All those kind of international tests.
mm-hmm,
I was on my bed when I was taking the test. Like I was lying on the bed. So I was like, wait, is this test this serious? So
Make I sit down.
exactly. So I sat up. And in 15 minutes, I was done with something that was supposed to take 40 to 50 minutes.
Mm,
And then when the result came out, I had a very high score. And the next thing that came on the screen is you are in the top 10 percentile of the world.
mm.
I said, wait, this small me? This small me?
I
A few weeks
mean,
later, a colleague reached out and said, oh, I have this family in the US. They need an English teacher. Do you know somebody as good as you, or even better than you, that can teach the child? I said, what do you mean? You will not find somebody better than me. I mean, I am in the top 10 percentile of English teachers in the world.
do
So,
you know who I am?
so when I said, I was like, oh, really? How did you know that? I told him, see, I sat for a test a few weeks ago. This is the result. He said, okay, let me send your details to this family. And then we got on the call with the family. We had the interview. Before
Mm,
we finished the interview, they were already raving like, "Oh my God, you are the one we
mm,
want. You are the one we want." And then
mm,
they asked me if I had any questions. I said several things. In fact, they were talking about their child. Once they said something, I would ask a question when we got to the Q&A part. Does he
mm,
also do this? They said, you haven't met him. I already know him. So I
mm,
asked to also interview the child. I asked him some questions. They were in the background listening. And when we were done, they said, we want you to take our son. And that was how
mm.
it started. So after the conversation, feeling happy with myself, I left my phone in the house, took my children, and we went for a stroll. It was still COVID period, so we couldn't go out of the estate. We went for a stroll within the estate. By the time I came back, my husband said my phone had been ringing. It was the same couple. I felt maybe they want to cancel. But
Mm.
no, they didn't want to cancel. It was to tell me that I had about 4 or 5 more students that they had gotten for me in the few minutes after the conversation.
Wow. Oh,
That was how I
wow.
started teaching online students outside Nigeria. And
Mm,
I've always had clients like that. Word of mouth. I've never had to put out adverts or anything. In fact, at a point I was so booked, I began to pray that I needed a break because
mm,
nobody wanted to stop.
mm,
So that began, when we're having our conversations, and all the parents, for each student, I would insist on an initial and assessment. We call that a baseline assessment. So
okay.
in giving them the academic feedback, I would also give emotional, behavioral, and they couldn't comprehend how in 1 hour online I could tell
Mm,
them things about their children that they were just beginning to discover during COVID.
mm,
At that time, it was then it began to dawn on me that the things you took for granted
mm.
are actually premium.
Yep.
You felt, oh, everybody knows it. So after the conversations I was sharing with my school leadership mentor, I said, I don't know what's wrong with these people. They're just shouting about the reports I gave them about their children. I said, things I do every day, and nobody even says thank you to
Thank
me.
you.
It's what I am now doing in 1 hour sessions. At the end of each hour, I tell them, this is what I've observed about your child. This is what she's like. This is what he's like. This is what I'm going to do first. Then we're going to start from here. I mean, there was a student that was in grade 5 at that time. By the time I assessed him and everything, I told them, I'm sorry, I can't teach him grade 5 level work.
Mm,
Is this special needs? They say a bit of this. Parents can be in denial when it comes to things like that. So I can't say if it was there or not, but they didn't come out straight to say it at first. It was later I found out that really he was struggling academically. I had to start
mm,
with him from grade 2. See,
mm,
as I speak to you today, that child is entering grade 10. I still teach him. He's on the
mm.
accelerated program in his school. That was a
Wow.
that started with a special needs. And so it
Mm,
occurred to me that many of us think there's nothing special about what we have to offer, or we even think that we have nothing to offer. That I need to tell this story. You have
Mm,
something to offer. In fact, you have a lot to offer. There is no one like you in the universe. And I am
mm.
not trying to psych you up. I'm not trying to make you feel good about yourself. It is a fact. The way
Mm.
the Father, the Creator, has made you, He has made you unique. There are blessings that attach to you that you are the only one that can give to people. So
Yep.
if you continue to sit on your hands, you are denying some people.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, I cannot shout this enough. I thank God you guys are hearing it from some other voice because it's like me, I'm just sounding like a broken record at some point. I've been shouting, shouting, shouting everywhere. That please do, you have to come up. In fact, I had a conversation today. I'm doing a program at LBS. So I was in school earlier today and I was talking to somebody, and they asked the question in class, and I mentioned that I was an architect, and I answered my question from that background. And she looked at me like,
Mm,
"Oh, wow, you're an architect. Please, I need to speak to you." I was like, "Okay." And we started talking as we were walking down for lunch, and she told me about a young girl who was it a
mhm,
girl or a guy? I can't remember. What a young person that she knew, right? That was an architect, trained architect, and was about to pivot to something else. And the person was so sure that there was no money in the industry, and she thought, how is it? So she started talking to me. By the time we had that conversation over, was it lunch? I don't think it was even break. The tea break that is even shorter, maybe
mhm.
30 minutes. By the time we're done, she was like, oh my God, you totally have to start mentoring young people. There's so many people out there that don't even know that these are possible with a degree in architecture. And I thought, I agree with you. In fact, you're not the first person mentioning it. I've always thought about it. I just need some time to sit down and, make something structural out of it. But also, I ended the conversation by telling her that all of us have to do this. It's not
Mm,
just me, right? You have just identified what I know in architecture, but you listen to you in class every day. I see that you have a lot to offer as well. All of us women, once you're 40, nearing 40, above 40, you have enough to share with the world. Like the Bible even enjoins us that older women should teach younger women. We need to go
exactly.
out and
Exactly.
teach what we know. Because what is happening now is that there's so many people who, because we are not teaching, we're not speaking, they're not looking up to people who are speaking. And the people who are
Mm,
speaking have less than a perfect message. They have a message that is flawed. They have a message that is, that is not edifying. And the
I
children are
agree.
listening to it. And then, I mean,
Mm,
I get really mad when I see some things on Instagram. I just, exit the group, exit the app because I cannot. Do you see?
yeah, yeah,
I'm like, I've curated my page enough to be able to show me what I want to see. But sometimes, how sometimes somebody will send a link
of
from
course.
somewhere.
Occasionally,
You
something
go
will
and
still slip
you go and
by.
enter the link, you now see, are people still like this? I'm just so tired. Like, are we still here, guys? So I realized that the solution is for all of us who have lived life long enough, who have seen enough things, who have been blessed with enough wisdom and knowledge and experience to go out there and speak, go out there and teach, go out there and shape narratives so that our children are not left to, take their mentorship or role modelship from people who have a less than desirable message, you know?
True,
That's just
true.
what it is. And that is the reason why I'm shouting from the rooftops. That's why I'm here every Tuesday, shouting, 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 shouting. Everybody, you can do something. You can do something.
Mm,
I mean, just
mm.
listen to you speak. I'm already thinking about how I'm coming to your DM to say, Omo, I have children that should come and receive your 1 hour assessment. Don't even play. Because we totally just need this. Everybody needs this
Mm,
information, right? Everybody needs something that you carry. So the onus is now on you to stand up and share with the world what you carry.
yeah,
Because when you don't, you are robbing the people in your circle of the thing that God has placed in you to help them.
absolutely. Absolutely.
Absolutely. So tell us, when you now finally discovered how amazing and wonderful that you were, how did you now get psych yourself enough to now get doing stuff that really brought you out and helping people? How did you move from knowledge, awareness into actually doing?
Okay, remember I had several students come in. One of the things I enjoyed was working with them because they then began to give me insights into the curriculum in different parts of the world, especially the
Mm,
US, for instance. So I would take my
okay.
time to study the curriculum before teaching. I had students in two different states. Each state
Mm,
had their own curriculum. Then there is the general framework, which is the Common Core standards, meaning I had
mm,
three different curriculum to study and compare,
mm,
right? That was one. And then last year, I got the opportunity to also start teaching children in the UK. Now,
Okay.
we have the international curriculum that we get, the Cambridge and all that, but it's
Mm.
different from knowing how exactly the English national curriculum framework is being delivered in the UK, the kinds of
Right.
sites used, the kinds of resources. So I had all these things, and thank God for COVID as well, because I was leading a school at that time. And when COVID struck, everybody was just going in blind. People were sharing all
Mm.
sorts of insights online. I didn't want to read just anything. So I specifically went to look for schools in China. Remember,
Mm.
China was the first to go into the lockdown. They were the first to experience all those things. So I first
Right.
went to look for schools in China.
Mm.
Following China, you had the US, and I think there was New Zealand. So I began to
Mm.
read from all those different countries, what strategies were being put in place, what they were doing differently, what helped them, which were the best resources, best sites that they used. And so
Right.
all those things built a knowledge base for me. I then
Okay.
realized that in a group of educators, where there were about, I think, 68 of us, when
Mm.
any issue came up, I always had something to share. I always had
Mm.
something to give. So much so that during that COVID period, people began to book slots to talk to me.
Mm.
You just say WhatsApp message, I'd like to share some ideas with you. I'd like to share with you what's going on in my school. I'd like to hear your insight about it.
Mm.
At first, I didn't take it seriously. The first time I was like, oh, really? What's this about? When
Mm.
it continued, one day I said to my husband that it's like I've become a sounding board for a lot of people, you know.
Point the consultants in here.
Exactly. I didn't monetize at that time though, but
Mm.
one of the things he did was to affirm me even more that,
Right.
okay, I knew what I was about, I knew what I was doing. And then you would meet different people who will share something and tell you how much they paid to learn those things. For example,
Mm.
when I started differentiation, it was the Holy Spirit that taught me how to differentiate in a classroom. And I used it
Mm.
and it worked. Years later, I was speaking with another colleague, and we were at a training where differentiation was supposed to be taught, and the person was not teaching it right. So I
Mm.
stepped out and he came outside as well, and we're talking about it. And I was sharing, oh, this is what the person should have taught. He said, yes. He now went on to say, oh, these things you are saying now, I learned them in France in year so, 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 and so. This, I paid so thousands of dollars. And I was wondering, eh? She's the Holy Spirit that taught me. I didn't have to pay all those. So all those things, what they did for me was to further affirm my
Mm.
skill set as a
What you
leader and
carry.
as a person. And so
Mm.
because the affirmations were coming, gradually the this was not really the imposter syndrome. It was the, how do I put it now? The levity with which I began to see myself and my skills began to fall away.
Mm.
I no longer took myself for granted. I no
For
longer saw
granted.
myself as, oh, I do what everybody else does. No, I began to see that there was something distinct about my skill set and my practice. And
Mm.
because all along I have always believed in developing the people around me, developing my staff and all that, I took it to a whole
Mm.
new level. I would now say it with all confidence. Before I would say it with a mind that some people can say they don't want to learn. I will leave them.
Mm.
But I now took it to a level where the school I was in at the time, one of my leaders had to say it on my birthday that our school is just going like this, meaning the school was going higher and higher. He said, and this our head teacher. Even if you don't want to journey with her, you don't want to go, she will drag you. You must learn and you must
Mm.
go by force. Today, I was listening to a clip by Tara where she said something about leaders. That as leaders,
Mm.
as you're planning training for yourself, as you're developing yourself, you should develop your team too. Then she went
Mm.
further to say that in developing your team, look at trainings that they will need to help them on the job, but also look at trainings that will help them in life.
Mm.
Sis, that is the kind of leader I am. And that's what
Mm.
I've been doing for the past few years now. Sometimes I would even tell my people
Mm.
using voice of reason to explain to them, voice of context and voice of reason now. Context,
Mm.
meaning I create a picture, I create a background first for them to understand
Okay.
this is the issue. And then reason, this is what we are going to do.
Mm.
So I would use those things to help them understand why they needed certain trainings. And I would always tell them, I am not training you just for this job. I am
Mm,
training you for tomorrow. I don't want you to
mm,
leave this place and you go to a smaller place. I don't want you to leave this place even if you decide tomorrow that you don't want to go anywhere else and you rather be on your own. I want you to be
mm.
able to do
To
that
be
and
useful
do
to
it
yourself. I
excellence.
picked something from somewhere where I worked before.
Hmm. Do you
Absolutely.
understand? So
Yeah.
that
That
was
that that
what
is
it
that
did
is
for
really
me.
profound. That is so profound because I had a boss then who used to say that he took training so seriously because he wanted to be able to say when somebody left his organization and you met the person and the person said, I've worked in XYZ place before, you'd be like, "Ah, that's why you're like this." Do you
Mm,
understand? He
mm,
wanted to be able to say, okay, the time you spent with me, you were able to grow in this way, you were able to learn with this. It doesn't matter if you keep those skills within my business or you take it somewhere else. His own was just basically
exactly.
about the fact that if somebody knew you had worked with him and they saw you, they would be able to tell that, oh, you passed through somebody, and that stayed with me. It now made me realize that, oh, everybody that comes my way is for a reason, right? I can't let anybody that comes my way just leave past and then leave the same way that they were without impacting them in some way or the other. That was really, really profound. And I'm glad that you touched on that and I just wanted to emphasize that for other people to hear, because at the end of the day, that's what we're all in on earth for, right? We are
Yeah.
interconnected. And once people come your way, what are you leaving them with? I read a saying the other day that said something about people would forget what you say to them, but they will never forget how you made them
I
feel.
made them feel, yeah.
So it's so important, they will say, okay, I had this boss. She was always interested in my growth. Was always interested in my progress, always, making sure that we did this or did that and that. And she was always sharing. I mean, the way you said, she was always dragging us along because you just wouldn't let them be. Because what is the point of you being so great, you developing so much, and then the team cannot? You will be frustrated because you'll be constantly having to look over them and do their work if they are not
Yeah.
scaling up. So it's even
Yeah.
for your own good for them to skill up so that
Yeah.
we can all, get something done
We can
faster
all
and move to
move
the next
together.
level.
Yes.
Absolutely. And that's the mindset that a lot of Nigerians need to change. Some people say, oh, I don't invest in training. If I train them, they will leave me and go somewhere else. And
What if
my
they
my
don't leave?
do you understand?
If
So
they don't
my
leave?
current boss said something. He said, I'd rather take the chance that you would leave me and go somewhere else than to have you stay with me and not be trained and so be useless to me.
Exactly.
And I and
Yeah.
then I was like, that's another way of looking at it. Because
Mm.
truly they may not leave and they will be useless because they're just hampered by what they know.
In
They're not
fact,
bad.
many
Mhm,
times I've realized that those people hardly leave
mhm,
because the reason why they often remain the way they are is because there's no internal drive.
mm,
As a leader, when you are training them, it's like what physics will say that something remains at a state of rest until an external
mm.
force is applied.
Yeah.
As a leader, when you push, you train, what you are doing is you are applying the external force. After a
Mhm,
while, they will move, even if it's only a little.
yeah.
But they don't want to be trained, and then you two, you leave them. They will not move
They will
because they
remain
don't
in
have
the
the
state
desire
of
to go
rest.
anywhere else. They will remain in that state of rest, and then you will end up losing because
Absolutely.
anything that is not growing is retrogressing.
Hmm. Yeah, there's
During
nothing
my
like
teaching, for
stagnancy. There's
instance,
nothing
now,
like actually staying. Yeah.
anyone who has been out of teaching for a few years cannot just come in and expect to soar as a teacher,
Mm.
an educator. No, because it keeps changing. So imagine the person has just been there without being trained or developed. The person won't even be able to fit in into a 21st century classroom. So yes, the
Yeah.
person didn't grow, but the person didn't actually remain at the state of rest. The person
Because
degenerated.
life had moved the person, moved beyond the person. So the person now
Yes,
behind. So you
yes,
didn't move, but life moved, right?
exactly.
Trends moved, things that need to be done, all everything moved, and you were left behind. So you are no
Mm,
longer at the same place where you were, so to speak. So I mean, I really like that. Thank you for pointing that out. And even that emphasis on training is so, so key. Because a lot of people, God will help us. Anyway, um, I'm still following up with your conversation, right? And
okay.
this is again about how you discovered yourself and discovered, that what you carry is really very powerful. I want you to speak to somebody out there because some women are thinking, okay, so you're saying that I have something. I don't see it, but if you say that I have it, okay, I want to believe you, but how do I progress? How do I proceed? What do I need to do next? And this is like, how did you now harness your voice? You've discovered now that, oh, you carry something special. People have started affirming you, started to hear it, and you're thinking, they may have something there, they may be right about what they're saying. How do you now move forward? What do you need to do next? And I just want you to just tell us your story. Because when you were introducing yourself, you're like, yeah, this way speaker. Yeah. I'm like, come on now, tell us, how did we get there? How do we get there?
Okay, so one important thing about life is that the skills that get you to a new level will not be the skills that will sustain you in that level. I'll say that again. The
Yes,
skills that
please.
get you to a new level will not be the skills that will sustain you in that level.
Hmm. Okay.
It was a lesson I learned practically. Like, oh, yes, you are this fantastic teacher, your classroom is this, parents have good feedback, your children are doing well. Then
Hmm.
I became a head.
Mm-hmm.
And then there were struggles. Because one of the things that was said when I was becoming a head is, come and teach others how to be like you. That's a
Mm-hmm.
different skill set.
Absolutely. It's not the same as managing a classroom.
Yes,
Mm.
because now you are coaching and mentoring adults who do not
Mm.
necessarily want to be coached.
Wants to bam.
So there's a place of emotional intelligence. There's a place
Mm.
of cultural intelligence,
Mm.
right? There's
Mm-hmm.
also a place of personal awareness.
Mm-hmm.
You know yourself, know your limits, know your triggers, and know how
Mm.
those relate to the other people. Because in
Right.
life, you will meet different kinds of people. You will meet people who share the exact same values you share, almost the exact same values. You will meet those who
Yeah.
share a bit of your values. You will meet those who
Mm-hmm.
share about half of your values. You meet those who do not share
Mm-hmm.
your values at all. You will meet these people in the
And
workplace.
your values seem like why is she so extra? Why are you disturbing us, please?
Exactly. I actually had
Mm.
staff who used to say behind me that she's so extra. In fact, when I was leaving that school, one of them confessed that when I first became head, she used to laugh behind me that she would soon get tired.
Ah.
His new position is shacking her. But that this was many years later. I think by then it was about maybe 7 or 8 years down after that I was then leaving. He said, but you have never gotten tired. But it's
Mm.
also part of knowing your triggers. So you know how
Mm.
to handle them, you know how to deal with them so that they do not interfere with the result you need to achieve. And so when you get
Mm.
into that new position, that new role, that new space, you need to sit down, assess the needs in that space, vis-a-vis your strengths and weaknesses. Then you know what to sit with and develop. Now,
Mm-hmm.
many times we are told to work on our weaknesses, but we have forgotten one interesting fact of life, that whatever you give attention to grows. So when you
Yeah.
focus so much on your weaknesses, it begins to look as if I am investing so much effort, but I'm getting little return.
Mm.
So instead of your weaknesses in quotes, I prefer to say strengthen your strength to the
Mm.
point where they
They
overshadow
outshine your
your
weaknesses.
weakness and outshine your weakness.
Hmm, 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 hmm.
You
I'll
understand?
pause. I'll pause you for a minute there because what you just said reminded me of something that I heard in class today. Doing adult education, so everything that is in class, I've just been mind blown, literally. This lecturer came to talk to us about competitive advantage in a business, how to, harness competitive advantage. And as we're talking, the first example he gave was like, he says, so those of you that have kids, if your child is struggling with maths, what do? You get a maths teacher, right? You
Mm,
basically say, oh, the child needs to pass maths. He said, but if your child is getting 97 in English, what do? You just leave them. He said, wrong. Is that English that you should get a teacher for? The child already has a natural ability in that subject. So get a teacher to make the child outstanding. And that is the one thing that will put them on the map and, just, open doors for them because it is not their weaknesses that you should focus on, but their strengths. And I was like, Hey God, it was such an eureka moment for me because I thought
Yeah.
we spent so much time on those weaknesses, saying, you got to put in work for this, put in work for this, put in work on this because you are struggling here, so we need to help you. I've heard a coach say it before, but I don't think he rang as true as how he hit me today. And again, you're saying it, and I'm like, Lord, I hear you. I hear you. I
Mm-hmm.
mean,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm heard, don't need to shout. I mean, I've heard you loud and clear because it is so important to harness your strengths. And
Yeah.
this is even for adults, this is even for grown people, because at the end of the day, everybody has something they're great at. And everybody has something that they're struggling with. But guess what? Other people can do the thing you're struggling with.
Exactly.
You don't have to drag it. This is, that's why we have division of labor. I
Mm-hmm.
worked in a firm once in my days in pure architecture. I worked in a firm and it was a big firm. So such a big firm with like maybe almost 50 architects. We are plenty. So the first work they gave me, I can never forget, was to design a gatehouse. I was so offended. I'm like, a whole master's degree holder like me, how many years experience I should design a gatehouse? What? And the manager gave me the work with such seriousness to say I should use 7 days. I said 7 days to design a gatehouse. Why? I said, this office, I'm going to live here because this place is going to spoil me. They will spoil my skills, they'll make me lazy. I can't do this. I will not work here. I was vexed. For sister, I was there for 7 years. And here's what I learned in the 7 years. In that office, we were able to build specializations because we were many,
Yeah.
right? So as
Yeah.
the work came in, everybody got a chance to do something. When they saw what you were good at, you were firing with those things. You would fire with those things and then you build a specialty so that every work that comes in, so okay, this is for Brenda, give it to her. This is for Kole, give it to him. This is for that one, give it to, as in, so, and we were now, all of us were now more efficient generally because of the fact that each person had built competencies in different areas. Now,
Different
some
area.
people will say that that's not very, no, it's not a very efficient way of working. You may think, what about the other areas? But guess what? We didn't do only one project. So you do multiple projects. So in as much as they know that, okay, this thing is your core strength, it will be maybe your main project, but you do other things. You would contribute in other teams, right? You contribute in other teams, so you would get to learn, you get to see, you even get a chance to try out some things. On some not so serious projects, you get a chance to try on design if your hand is not strong on design. If it's not such
Mm.
important, you get a chance to do because if there was a time constraint, for example, and it's a very important thing, maybe like a competition, we'll get the best person to do it, right? But if it was not a
Yeah.
competition and we had a bit of time, they'll give you to do it so that you can, learn your hand on it. Just sort of the way that doctors do. When they have doctors in those teaching hospitals, they will give you,
Mm.
go and try that woman. The other doctor is watching over you so that you try your hand on it because it is in doing that you get better. Do you see?
Absolutely.
So it's in
Yeah.
doing that you get better. But knowing your strengths and harnessing it makes you such a superstar that you are not even able to spend time thinking about your weaknesses. You even remember
Mm-hmm.
them. Do you see? And nobody
Yeah.
remembers them either. They now start to,
Yeah.
hail you for that good that you're doing. And this works for children, it works for adults, works for everybody. A child that is struggling with something, don't worry. Stop fixating on that thing. Find the one they're good at. Hail them appropriately on it. It builds their confidence enough for them to try the other thing that they're struggling with. And before you know it, that one becomes a walkover. So I just
Yeah.
wanted to interject that because that one just blew my mind. Like, Lord, you're coming again with the same thing. Okay, I have to write it down. But yes, thank you so much. So yes, please go ahead.
Yeah, so let me just buttress that point you just talked about. One thing I've
Mm,
also observed is when you then strengthen or work on your strengths to the point where it overshadows your weakness, after
mm.
a while, that strength begins to strengthen the weakness.
Yeah.
It no longer becomes as bad as it used to be. Some things just
Mhm.
become clearer on their own. And you wonder, oh, why didn't I ever figure this out?
Mm,
So back to what we're saying. So study the skill set needed for the new position or for the new role or for the space you found yourself in, vis-a-vis
mm.
your own strengths and weaknesses. Begin to build your strength, begin to amass strength and capacity to manage that space. That thing
Right.
you've always wanted to do, begin to test the waters. I didn't say go for further training. You
Now,
know
some
why I'm
people
not
want to use
saying go for
training to
further
kill
training?
themselves.
Because that's one thing we used to hold ourselves back. We said,
Mm,
until I have a certificate in this area, until I have a certificate in this area, I have found
mm,
out Let me shock you. I studied Russian, not English. English was my second language,
No
was my
way.
elective. Yes. My core subject, my core course was Russian. That was what I did for
Mm,
4 years. I only did English electives and some core courses for 3 years. In my
mm,
final year, I didn't take any English course because I had my complete unit and my course advisor felt I didn't need to take any elective. I still took
mm,
that story for another. I still took electives from another department.
mm,
Sometimes oversabi can worry some of us. It was a case of, okay, since I have time, I want to learn
mm,
about Christianity and how it started in West Africa. So I just took two electives then. But
mm,
that's story for another day, like I said. Now, I run courses for English teachers. Hear me. I didn't
mm,
say for English students, for English teachers.
mm.
Most of the teachers that register for this course studied English language or English
For
language
them, even
and
masters,
literature.
Papa.
Yes, some of them even masters.
Mm,
Last year, when I first did it, I had feedback from many of them saying I clarified things they never understood in the language. And they had degrees in it, they had been teaching it for years.
mm,
This year, I am running it again. I didn't have time to market it, but I still had a good number of students based
mm.
on last year's registration. We've had, I think, 3 classes now, and the feedback again has started. Oh, now I understand this better. These are
Mm.
people who have been teaching English for years.
Wow.
Yes, some for decades.
Mm. And there's something about teaching, right? That I've
Yeah,
noticed that some people, it comes naturally to them. Do you
yeah.
understand? Some people are able to break down difficult concepts and it comes naturally to them. If you are one of those people, please don't sleep on it.
I am
Find
one of
anything
those
that you can
people.
teach. Because even from the way you're speaking now, I mean, I'm already learning something and I'm thinking, man, she's one of them. I can see it. Don't sleep
Even
on
in
it.
my beauty business as an Oriflame consultant, when I take sessions, I've had people tell me, oh, they understood it better because I took it. I once
Mhm.
had another team invite me just come and teach them skincare in their own team because the
Mm,
person saw me teach it at a fair and she was like, I like the way you teach skincare. Can you come and
mm,
teach us online? They are not even in Lagos.
right.
So know what you need to work on, then begin to build on it by starting from where you are. Don't say you are looking for certificate. That's why I told you my story.
Mm, mm,
Any
mm.
certificate I have for English, apart from my university transcript, is a short course, not a
Right.
degree or a diploma. But I teach it well. I break it down, whether it's primary or secondary that I am teaching, or even adults, teaching them how to
Mm,
teach basic concepts to help their learners become better. So start with what you have, start where you are. The Bible tells the story of a widow whose husband died and left a mountain of debts for her and the children. And she was asked, what do you have? So those of you that feel like, oh yes, I've heard you, but what do I really know? Well, now the question is thrown back at you. What do you know? What can
what
you
do you
do?
know? Mhm,
Something, do you know, sis, that there are families that make their wealth from handwriting? I'll tell you two different
mhm,
examples. One, those are some of the things that teaching helps you to know.
mm,
Unusual things. So I
mm,
was researching on a particular handwriting font.
mm,
Then I discovered that that particular font I was looking for belongs to a family in the UK. And for you to use it, you pay royalty to that family. So
mm.
Microsoft pays that family.
Font on top of computer, buy.
Fonts, I'm telling you. It was developed by that family and is now a family of fonts. They have the cursive of it, they have the this, they have the.
What
In
am I
fact,
doing
you
with
can.
my good handwriting? I don't understand. Sure, they can come and pay me, ni? Wow.
Microsoft and other softwares that use those handwritings or those fonts, now they become
Mm,
fonts, of course, they pay those families. And that's not the only family that has it.
mm,
So there are different families like that. That's their specialty. Now, imagine the ancestor that started it feeling, I only have a good handwriting. I don't have
Is that?
anything.
Mm,
Now, I also know a lady, the handwriting doctor.
mm,
Adebike teaches just handwriting, but she teaches it well. Like I was saying, I'm a leadership consultant. Adebike is a handwriting consultant for
mm.
schools, families, and individuals. And
Okay.
she charges in six figures.
I can even begin to imagine because
Handwriting.
handwriting is a dramatic something. Oh. You know, when a child has very bad handwriting, they fail exam because the child cannot read what they said, what they wrote. So
Yes.
it's a big
Yes.
problem.
And
Mm,
what do we call them now? Forensic scientists and all that, and
mm,
detectives. They can also tell a lot about a person just by the handwriting.
mm,
So you could feel you don't have anything, but I'm telling you today that you have something. That's why I'm talking about handwriting. Something will feel is small. When
mm-hmm.
Mrs. Megbope Ayo of No Leftovers went to Buckingham Palace, it was Moi Moi that took her there.
One
Moi
more,
Moi.
okay, good. Even to the White House, I think. I think she also
Yes,
got to the
and
White
to the
House.
White
Yeah.
House too. I think
Mm,
she spoke for Michelle Obama, and it was still
yes,
this Moi Moi.
yes. More,
Now,
more.
you
Oh.
know that in some restaurants abroad, they will put the bean pudding and put one expensive price tag.
Mm,
That's moi moi that you make in your backyard, and you think, I don't have anything. You have something.
mm,
You have something. You just need to believe
mm.
in yourself. So, how do you know what you have? Look at the things you like to do, the things you enjoy doing. There are things that come to you naturally.
Right.
It took a while before I realized that teaching is a gift for me, not just a calling, but a gift. Like, even when I am not feeling fine, before I start, I may be like this, like, oh, I don't feel too well. The moment I start teaching, it's as if the anointing to teach will
You
come.
get, you
And
even
I will
get
just,
energy.
yes.
You get
So begin to
energized. I
think
can
about
totally
the
relate.
things, yes, think about the things you like to do, the things you enjoy doing, the things that give you joy, and begin to do
Mm.
more of those things. The more you do them, the clearer it will be what you should focus on and what you should do.
I just love what you're talking about. And for me, this part of this conversation is part of what we talk about in the Amplify You framework, right? So I've been shouting from the rooftops about my Amplify You program, and it's coming in different formats, and the very simplest of them is the book. So even
Mm.
if you don't even have the money or the time or whatever to jump into any of the coaching courses, you can actually buy the book. And the first part of that program is the clarify. And that clarify is just speaking to what you have been saying since to find out what is your message. Because at the end of the day, we're saying, come, let's amplify you. We're saying, come, shout to the rooftop. We're saying, come and, spread the message. What is the message? Some of us have many things that we do. Some of us are very multi-potentialite, and we're not even apologetic. Do you understand? Because that's how God made
Exactly.
us. So I'm not even about to be apologizing to you that, that's how God made me. So take
Mhm.
me like that. I'm like my father, multi-potentialite. In the Bible, when the
Exactly.
day I found Bezalel in the Bible and holy,
You have
that
it
was
there.
it. That day I said, thank you, Jesus, for showing me this thing. No business coach can scatter my head again. I now know who I
Yeah.
am in Christ. Just see.
Mhm.
Now, back to the matter at hand. In finding out your core message, it's not just because you are multi-potential, it doesn't mean you shouldn't know what your core is, right? And from teaching, from speaking to you and everything, and I think I can totally relate. Your core is teaching, right? It's teaching. Whatever you teach per time is not the issue. That everything
Exactly.
everything around what you're doing is teaching, because that's your teaching, is that your gift, is the thing that you do naturally, is the thing you enjoy doing, is the thing that you do even if they don't pay you, is the thing that you will just be doing. Now, what you now need to do is, okay, per time, what am I teaching? Maybe today you say you're teaching English, tomorrow you say you're teaching leadership, to next tomorrow you can say you're teaching, but you are teaching. That's who you
Yeah.
are. I am a teacher. End of story. You see, who
Mm.
am I? I am a builder. What do I build? Today I'm building houses. Tomorrow I'm building human beings. Next tomorrow, I'm building you, I'm amplifying you, and That's who I am. In whatever format it comes in, whether it's through scripture, whether it's through coaching, whether it's through writing, whether it's through, project management or architecture or whatever, that is what I'm doing. So what is your core message? And that's what we help you with in that part of the framework. We help you clarify it. We have a tool that actually does this very, very simply that everybody can work with, right? Finding what your core message is. Once we find that, the next step is to create. How do we now create? We help you to think about, okay, so what do you want to do with this your message? We need you to shout it at me. Shout it from rooftops because we've said it that God did not light a lamp and put it under the bushel. We want you to literally be out there. So how do you want to
Right.
spread this message? Even Jesus told the disciples to go and tell the world about me. So it's to go. You're not supposed to sit in one place. So, but the question is how? What am I doing? So we can say, what is your medium? Are you going to write a book? Are you going to do a podcast? Are you going to, maybe decide that it's only speaking you want to do, or what is your medium? What are you going to do? We have a number of those ones that you decide which one you want to do, and you start the conversation. If you said you wanted to write a book, we'll now say, okay, what type of book? Is it fiction or non-fiction? Okay, we have to create an outline because we need to see what we are creating. You need to see it from beginning to end. We need to have a structure. We need to have a timetable, a schedule. How are we going to write this thing? In what time? Am I going to leave it open-ended? Many people see me and say, oh, I've been writing a book for 5 years. And I'm thinking, what the heck are you writing? What?
Mm,
You don't have any business writing a book for 5 years. You are not busier than busy. You are not the most busy person on earth. Do you see? So you cannot write a book for 5 years. The only reason why you're doing that is because you are starting and stopping. But if you had a structure that you can follow, even if you put down 30 minutes a day, you finish your book. You finish it. You don't have to, you know, just have open-ended. And the problem of being open-ended, the information started with at the beginning would have changed by the time you're at the end of the book. you know,
exactly.
your your prognosis that you started with the premises started at the beginning has changed. Nigeria has changed in 5 years. So imagine how
Mm,
your story
mm,
no longer be valid. So what are you doing? Get on it, get to it and finish it and push it out. So everybody that's reading, even they're reading 5 years time, they know that okay, at the time you wrote it, this was valid. And your disclaimers are always there and all of that. But the point is you have a structure. And the next part is branding. And here again is where we put you on the hilltop because we cannot just write you and you cannot create a book, create a podcast and just be quiet. Because that's not the plan. The plan is to show you off. Why? For God to receive the glory. That's the plan. It's not
exactly.
showing off for showing off sake. It's showing off for God to receive the glory because you know why? As a child of God, you are this earth is your heritage. You're supposed to be the one leading things, leading all the industries. We don't want people leading and telling children that education is scam, all those kind of foolish things that are the messages that we're seeing up and down now. We need you to
Mm,
stay with your sensible message, with your message given to you by the Holy
yes.
Spirit, and be in the front. So how do we package you to where to be in the front so that people will listen to you and say, she has sense, she's making sense. Do you see?
Mm,
That's the branding. And then the next part is now publishing. So this thing you've decided to do, you have to publish it because okay, you have been writing since hello until it gets to the hand of the user, it's not done. So we need
mm,
to teach you how to publish. And the last step is amplify. So we have branded ourselves, we set up ready to show ourselves to the world. We now have the product, it's published. Now we now amplify. So we now go to town. Because many people write a book and just keep it under their table. Everybody that visits them, they give them one copy. Is that really what that whole drama was about? No. You need to go to town with it. You need to own your message and speak about it everywhere you go. And then they start to call you for speaking engagements. You start to set up a podcast for yourself. You start to go out and continue to hammer, hammer, hammer on this message. You're going to schools, you're going to everywhere, and you're sharing this message until people start to change, or you start to shape culture and change
yeah.
narratives.
Yeah.
That is what the call is about. That's what God has called us for. And so those are the 5-step framework that we said is I share in that book and the entire Amplify Your coaching program. It's something that is so dear to my heart. Um, and I feel it as a personal burden, personal call to just drag everybody that I see. Like, look, you're doing amazing, Toyosi. What are we doing with it? Tell us about your book first of all. I know you've written books, so I'm not even hounding you, but from these things you shared today, me and you are going to have a conversation. I'm sure you know. I'm coming to your DM. before before I harass you in public, I'll come to your
Okay.
DM.
Okay, so I have two books one in print, the other is an ebook. The
Okay,
one in print is The Lady and Her Purse.
right. I
It's
have that.
targeted towards ladies. And so, ladies and then people who love them, like I like to put it. So it
mm,
started from personal experience when we were a young couple, and I can't remember how old our son was now at that time, but I realized that paying his school fees was a major project. And the school fees
mm,
wasn't even much. Don't let me say it here. I'm ashamed to say how much the school fees was for it to be a major project, right? So I
mm,
was concerned that, okay, we have just one child. This is school
mm,
fees, and
mm,
it's a project to pay it. And that school fees was a 50% school fees because I was working in that school.
mm,
So I now ask myself, what happens when we have the second child?
mhm,
Is this how it's going to be a struggle? Oh, we want to pay school fees, so we can't do any other thing. Let's say the fact that
mm,
it's discounted. So, in the place of thinking, and I began to pray, and God led me to study. At that time, I was in my 20s, my late 20s. So I was
mm.
led to study the top 10 wealthiest young people under 30. At
Okay.
that time, Mark Zuckerberg was one of them. And the only thing that pained me is that I did not document that research
Mm.
because I only documented the lessons, and that was wrong. I should have documented what I found out about each of them.
I
But
mean,
at the
that's a
time
book
I did
right
the
there.
research,
But
yes,
that's a book right there.
at the time I did the research, I didn't think I was going to write a book. I didn't know I was going to write a book.
Mm,
So the lessons I took away from that research is part of what formed the writing of my book.
mm,
Because from then, I realized that, okay, there are three main categories of these wealthy people. You have
right.
those that are born into wealthy families. You have those that
Mm-hmm.
are born into business families. So even though they were not wealthy as such, they were business oriented.
There was the
So
structure.
the children, yeah, so the children grew in that structure and developed the business till they now became wealthy. Then you
Mm.
had the third group where no money, no support, but the lack of those things was what motivated them
Failed them. Mm,
to build wealth. So those were the
mm,
three categories I learned. And so I then decided that, okay, I don't really fall into any of the three per se,
mm,
because I'm not coming from a business family. My
mm,
parents were well to do by the standards at the time, but then my
mm,
father's business crumbled.
mm,
But I can't also say I am from the last group of people
mm,
who are extremely poor. So what can I do? Let me get some financial intelligence so that I can
mm.
give my children a better standing. Let them at least be able to start from the level of
Start
people
from somewhere. Sure, you
in
understand.
business. Do you understand?
Uh-huh.
So that was how I delved into financial intelligence. I began to learn. And once you are, there's a saying that once the student is ready, the teacher will appear.
The sharp, yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
So once I began to go in that line, different information that I needed began to come my way. I
Mm,
started following Ramsey Noah, followed his daughter, followed Tade Cash. I was already following Praise Forward. So once Praise Forward mentioned Tade Cash, I was like, Tade Cash, cash. Ah, this person will know about
mhm,
money. I followed. Mentioned something about Bonjute Sonny about finances. I started following Bonjute, joined the
mm,
financial diva. So in the process of learning to be able to give my children a better standing in life, I discovered it
mm,
wasn't even too late for me as an adult
mm,
to build my own wealth.
mm,
And then I began to learn about the different streams, based on Genesis chapter 1, the different streams that watered the Garden of Eden, and how
mm,
you, as a child of God, if you think you want to build wealth and you have less than four streams, then you think you are wiser than God.
mm,
And so then in the process as well, I began to come across African myths that have held women in poverty. Things
mhm.
like, oh, a woman cannot control money, it must be from the husband. So when you collect all your salary, you must give it to your husband. Some of those things that just did not make any sense to me.
Never understood that thing, and I just thank God that I've never had to. I mean, because I just can't. I can't.
Funnily, I think when we first got married, I think my first salary after we got married, I actually gave my husband and he refused to collect. He said, why? I said, I thought that's what they said. He said, no, but it's your money. You worked for it. Why are you giving me? I said, so you should say, no, hold your money.
Thank God for sensible men because
Abi.
That's how you'd have been giving that money now. By now, maybe the guy who don't used to ram now. You now revolt and say, I don't want to give you again. There will not be
Not
problem.
look like
Ha.
exactly, So I began to come across all those myths. So some of those myths also found the way into my book, and then I
Mm,
debunked them, as well as the financial intelligence gained from God's word, and how
mm,
women see there's nothing stopping you. You are the one stopping yourself.
mm,
And by the grace of God, everyone who has, and just like before, oh, everybody knows these things. I discovered that
mm.
no, not everybody knows this, because everyone who has read that book has
Mm.
come back to tell me, wow, okay, thank God your daughter read it in one sitting too.
Yes,
I
so.
know several people who will tell me they read it in one sitting. When I announced the pre-launch, at the time I announced the pre-launch, it was still ebook. I just wanted to push it out because I'd been sitting on it for 4 years. The moment I
Mm,
announced it, um, Dr. Moni, a world-renowned cardiologist here in Lagos, reached out to
mm,
me in my inbox and said, "Send me account details. I want to pay for it now." I was like, I'm
mm,
not even really ready like that. To cut the long story short, she paid for herself and for her two daughters, read
mm,
it, and was so happy. I said, oh, she's shared to her daughters already. That was even the ebook before I now went into print. By the time I went to
mm,
print, for being the first customer, I made a special hard copy for her. And I think the
mm,
first five people who purchased them, and I sent hers to her autographed, you know.
mm,
Right now, I'm out of copies. I need to reprint because people keep asking for the book. Recently, I just saw a sale again, and I was wondering who. A total stranger. I don't know how she saw the link. Maybe she saw it on my WhatsApp status or my WhatsApp
mm,
card or something. Bought the book again, and I keep getting feedback from people that they are
mm.
learning a lot. It's helping them. They also be able to teach their children, and I'm amazed at what God is using that book to do.
Yeah, absolutely.
So the second one is a children's storybook.
Oh, okay. See, I'm always a champion for anybody writing children's storybooks because for me, there is a big gap, a huge gap in that
Mm,
industry, in that
mm.
space. We need quality books for our children to read. Our children are stuck on Diary of a Wimpy Kid and all those other books that
Yeah, yeah.
I'm not really sure what the value that they're bringing is. So
Mm.
every time I see somebody writing children's stories, I'm like, yes, please. And we want them to know their culture. We want them to know about God. We want them to know about, get things in their head as they write stories. We read stories growing up of Enid Blyton, right? Enid Blyton wasn't Nigerian,
Mm.
but they were good stories, right? That you could
Mhm.
learn stuff. Somebody was always good. There was always some good person, somebody doing good somewhere, right? So it was good
Yeah.
stuff. Then we also read pace setters. We read Nigerian stories that gave us, cultural backgrounds and we would situate stuff. So I need our children to have these. So as many people as can write children's stories, please jump on it. And maybe you should print that one because there's my
I've been
children's books
thinking
that I
about
wrote.
it really.
Oh God, I wrote
Thinking
children's
about
books
printing
by
it.
mistake during COVID. Like I was less busy, did it on my computer, shared it with a few friends, and next thing, like, when are you printing? So immediately I printed it. Like I've never had to market those books. Everywhere I take them to, they sell off very quickly. People are looking for children's books. I kid you not. You should totally print it. So tell us about the book. What's the story about?
Okay, it's a fable.
Okay.
Interestingly, it started with me wanting to create my own comprehension text for an examination.
Hmm.
Then, as a head
I like
teacher,
it.
I led the examination board of the school. So teachers didn't set their own exam questions. Just teach your lessons, submit your lesson plans,
Mm,
teach well. Your children will sit for tests and exams that are set by the board. So I led the English as a subject, setting of English questions. So I led my two deputies and two other people in the exam board. So I was
mm,
responsible for English. So that day I was
okay.
setting year one questions. And I didn't want to use a text they had read in class.
Class.
I
Mm,
felt at the end of year six, these children will sit for an international examination. They will not
mm,
use a story in the curriculum. They are going to
mm,
use unseen prose and fiction and non-fiction rather.
mm.
So why am I going to sit on the exam board and I'll still give them a story that they have read in class for exams? So I sat
Mm.
down and I created a whole new story, a short story for year one.
Yeah.
Form questions and the certificate. So I was doing that. So I have several of those comprehension passages actually from that time.
Right.
And so one day I took my son to school. He was in grade six. They were preparing for the international exam, and I was less busy. I was supposed to be working, interestingly.
Mm.
But you know,
Mm-hmm.
when you just don't have that drive. So, and
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want to go home and come back because school was far from the home. So I asked, I'd worked in that school before. So I told the head teacher I needed a space. He gave me his office, but I preferred a classroom. So I was in that classroom, no mojo in quotes to do my office work. And then I brought
Mm.
out my Canva. I opened my laptop. I saw that I don't know what I was looking for. I just saw this comprehension passage. I was like, and this will make a good story. Oh. Let me add to it.
Mm.
Since that was how I added to two paragraphs till I got a book. And then I
Mm.
sat down with Canva. I began to edit and create images, add
Design it.
illustrations. That was how the ebook came about. But I didn't push it out. Instead, I showed my children. They read it, they liked it, sent it to my siblings, my husband, everybody. It's very nice. But recently, I think it was late last year, I just said, you know what, I'm going to push this out. I added sound effects
Mm-hmm.
to it. So it's in the form of a flip book. I added sound effects
Oh,
for
okay.
different pages. And then I
Mm.
pushed it out. Now, after I pushed it out, I realized that it wasn't just a fable to entertain because it teaches the lesson of uniqueness, not
Okay.
in the funny way now, not in
It,
the alphabet way.
mm-mm.
No, teaching the fact
Uniqueness
that
that
God
glorifies
made
God.
everybody unique. So in that story, there is a
Mm.
cheetah that had been made fun of at different times, like, why are you so different? The lion does not behave like this, the lion does not look like this, does not make this sound. It was while writing. And you know, as a teacher, as an educator, you want to give content that is true
Yeah.
and stay as
That they
realistic
can relate
as
with.
possible to
Yeah.
real life. So I researched on the cheetah, and that's when I discovered that the cheetah had amazing features, truly, that made it
Mm.
unique apart from other animals in the cat family. Till
Mm.
today, I cannot tell you that it was my wisdom that made me pick the cheetah as the main character. Because when I started it, I didn't know the cheetah was a unique animal in the cat
Animal.
family. I believe it
Mm.
was God. Because down to the sounds that a cheetah makes sounds different from other animals in the cat
Mm.
family. So it fits
Amazing.
into the context of the story. And then
Mm.
it kind of points to identity as well. Like your
Mm.
uniqueness kinds of makes people jealous of you. So
Right.
instead of trying to blend in, celebrate your
Stand
uniqueness.
out. Absolutely. You were not made to blend in. You're made to stand out. Let's never forget that.
Exactly.
And I mean, that is an amazing. See, if we leave us here, we'll be here the next 1 hour. I was
Oh,
completely
wow,
enjoying myself
wow,
just listening to
wow.
you.
We are past
Yes,
the
yes,
time.
yes. So please tell us how we can reach you. How do we reach you on social media? How do we find your books? How do we get to reach you? Because I mean, you've spoken very well, and I know a lot of people in the comments have been re-echoing what you said, and I'm sure we would like to want to meet you. So how can we reach you? Please let us know.
Okay,
Instagram, how
you can reach me on Instagram at Toyosi Babs. The links to my books are in my
in your
bio.
bio.
You can also
Okay,
reach me at Educators Making a Difference on Instagram. That's my educator page. On
okay.
LinkedIn, you can reach me at Toyosi Babatunde.
Yes, about today. Amazing. Thank you so much, Toyosi, for coming today. I mean, when I even picked the topic, I didn't know what I was thinking. I don't know what I was expecting to hear, but you killed it, killed it, killed it, killed it for us. We're so grateful to have you here and all the
Thank
insights you've
you.
shared and, the lovely things you've been able to do with your life and finding your voice and, embracing your uniqueness because you are all that. Hello. I mean, you're in the top percent. How did they put it? Top 10
Top 10
percentile in the
percentile of the
world.
world.
Do they know you? Come on now. I love it. Like that thing blew my own mind, and it's not me they wrote it for. What are you saying? So I love it. Thank you so much for sharing your story with us. Thank you so much for
Thank
all that
you.
you've taught today. And I'm sure that most of our women that are watching or those that will come back and watch the replay will go away with having learned something. I mean, and ladies, if you want to start, you are eager, you are pumped up with your message, reach out to me. You know how we do. I can get you started. Okay? Just come. Let's amplify you. My name is Brenda
Yes,
Unu.
it's
It has
Brenda
been an
the
amazing,
amplifier.
amazing time. And this is brought to you by the Women's Growth Academy. This is Women's Matters. We come to you live every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Nigerian time on YouTube. And you can always catch the replay anytime, any day. We're here for you. And we're happy to join us today. Tell your friends, tell your friends, tell your friends. See you same time next Tuesday. Thank you, Toyosi, for coming.
Thank you, Brenda, for having me. Thank you, WGA.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night.